Still it sits. I'm now talking with the global treasure. That is Roman. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very far from feeling like myself like a global treasure, but yeah, I'm good.
Just take
good,
my word for it. You're a global treasure.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. It seems like a good year. It's coming back to normal, just like the conference we are at. People are finally seeing each other, and everyone I ask, they're extremely busy.
Yeah.
They seem to be quite busy doing new and interesting stuff.
There's definitely a lot going on. It just feels like that. The demand, the interest, the actual activity is going. Just in a context question, first of all, I mean, ITIL 4 and the second parts of it all came out just as that was happening, COVID was happening. Where are we with that? I mean, I know you've got 2 new books, or relatively new books, but I mean, is there any kind of reignition or, refresh of what's in there and how it's going to be presented to the world?
Well, yes, we did release 2 books last year.
Yeah.
Rather new to the scope of ITIL, rather new to the positioning of the actual modules, because these are 2 rather deep specialist modules which at the same time do not require foundation as a prerequisite, because this is an attempt to address the needs of our people outside of our usual, let's say, ITSM bubble. One of the modules is focused on sustainability.
Yeah.
And it's not only about making your IT more sustainable. It's more, I would say, about using IT to making your organizations more sustainable. And the target audience for this is wider than just IT. It's general management and ideally pretty much everyone in organizations concerned with their sustainability goals. And similarly, the other one, a bit more technical, a bit more usual for us, the one focused on cloud, is addressed not only to our, let's say, again, usual community, our usual bubble, but to people making procurement decisions, to people making architectural decisions at the enterprise level. So these are 2 modules where we are attempting to expand our audience. It's a bit too early to say now whether we succeeded hugely in it or not. We don't have enough data on who are actual people in the class. We can only judge by whether they have had foundation previously or not, and we see some people engaging with these topics, with these new model certifications without previous foundation. So in that sense, it's a vague indicator of the right direction. I really am looking forward to knowing more about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, really, and the sustainability one, I think is a brilliant topic and a great area to be focusing on. Just back to the more sort of original or central ITIL 4 stuff. What's your perception at the moment of where we are in terms of how much of that's landed, how much of that's being used? Without going into a lot of detail, but just, is it continuing to grow? Is it, are people using the ideas?
I think we can say that foundation is very welcomed from the first year when it was released. It keeps increasing every year in terms of numbers of adoption, and I personally haven't heard anything bad in terms of feedback. I'm in a bit of an echo chamber, obviously, but still, usually when people do not like something about ITIL, I do hear it. What we lack, in my opinion, and I believe as a company we agree as well with this, is the visibility and adoption of the practices. Half of ITIL, in terms of the amount of content, is the practice guides, and they are bloody good, even if I'm saying it myself. And I believe the level of awareness about them and the level of practical use is way below where it should be. Partially because there is no direct training associated with them, and therefore ATOs, training organizations, as a communication and sales channel do not work well enough for that. I hope we will be able to address it rather soon. and to make them more visible and therefore more adopted. Because I believe this is something that is so valuable potentially and so under adopted right now, then that's something I would hope to see growing this year.
I completely agree. I think that content is great, and pretty much every organization I work with, I've told them about it, and they've been on the course and everything. So there's a job there's a marketing and awareness job to be done there.
I believe this is where we have a huge room for improvement in terms of adoption of what is already there. We also have some ongoing work on adding more on the shelf and more to the library.
Okay.
But not in a position to name the topics yet. Hopefully they will be announced in a couple of months, so very soon.
Okay. And just as a final point on that, for me, I am quite encouraged because a number of organizations that I go into now are doing value stream mapping, experience management. They like the guiding principles. They are, even 2 years ago when the foundation was out, nobody knew about the next level of stuff, but there's more awareness of it, whether it's all landing and embedding, but it's definitely there in a positive way. So it's like it just needs to be built on.
That's what I hear too. May I ask you a question?
Go on.
Because last year we released actually 3 products, 2 modules that I mentioned, and also a maturity model based on ITIL. Mm-hmm. It's officially called ITIL maturity model, although it's applicable to non-ITIL organizations too. And I've heard that you had some experience of using it as a consultant. Or
I haven't used it. I've seen it.
You've seen
it. I've had a presentation on it, and okay. I like it.
So that was the question. What's your opinion?
My opinion is that it looks good. It looks clear and simple, because I do use assessment tools in other areas, and what it presents, I think, is very easy to use and understand and develop. It's quite a difficult thing to pull together all the different elements in ITIL, because it's not just incident management. It's a whole number of things. So I think it does a good job of pulling those things together. I would still use it as part of a bigger piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like not the only thing, but in doing that piece of work, I think it's good. Yeah.
When we were presenting the 3 modules in public places last year, we were saying that many organizations are trying to be more sustainable and they need some guidance. Many organizations are trying to benefit from use of cloud and they need some guidance. And all organizations, including the former 2 and others, need to understand where they are and what would be the next steps. And this is what the model is for. It's like a check and act and partially plan thing, but there is a lot outside of the model which is focused on the do.
Okay, just moving on then, just sort of round up, what's your view of, and not necessarily with an ITIL hat on, but just what's your view of where the industry is? Are we learning stuff? Are we doing the right things? Are we getting better? Do we need to take a long, good look at ourselves in the mirror?
There are good trends and not so good trends.
What would they be?
I like that we are moving to a more generic and systemic view. Mm-hmm. And I was chatting with a number of vendors here, and some of them see that people are more active in what they call ESM projects, enterprise service management. And I was assured by some vendors that it goes now beyond just enterprise ticket management, as I call it, and more towards the integrated and good user experience across the functions of a business.
Employee experience.
Employee experience, yes, of course, that's what I was intended to say. And I really like it. I believe it's a good direction. What I think could be better in the industry, we are still largely slaves of the lamps and victims of hype cycles. When a good idea comes up, it very soon starts being marketed as the good idea against all previous ideas. I believe we still lack this, let's say, integration, and we still see examples of marketing of very good ideas at expense of other good ideas. And I believe this is what happened, let's say, 5 to 10 years ago with DevOps. I truly believe that the community would benefit more from engaging it not as the only like silver bullet, and positioned purposefully contrary and opposite other approaches. And similar things are happening to experience management and experience level agreements and similar experience related things, as you highlighted recently in an article too. And some other good ideas. I believe we would all benefit from getting closer together rather than trying marketing our ideas on expense of others. That's
a really good point.
Still an issue.
Interestingly, some of the other conversations I've had, people have been saying basically that, but also that there's more confluence than there has. People are maybe not the industry, but actually the practitioners are doing more to bring things together. They don't care so much.
Because we are adding to the tool sets, but unfortunately decision makers, sponsors, they tend to come into the organization with something like, we are now implementing X. Let's not use the word of Z and Y anymore in our organization because X is our new religion. And practitioners combine this stuff, but people who are driving transformations, they sometimes are kind of biased in favor of one approach against others. It can be in favor of ITIL against others, or the other way around, doesn't matter.
The big hope would be that enterprise service management helps to break that down, because it's maybe driven by business people, but we're still selling it as IT people to them.
And via IT people. I was also asking vendors who are the drivers behind those ASM projects. In most cases, it's IT leaders who manage to mature to the position of executive team in the organization and become business leaders. But it's still largely IT-driven effort, which is bad and good.
Well, some good, some bad. Lots of new things, lots of existing things that work.
It's an interesting time.
It is an interesting time. I hope to chat with you maybe this time next year and see where we've got to.
Likewise, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Really nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.